So yeah, I have this horrible habit where I read 1,000 of books at the same time. Let's talk about it. Hi everybody and welcome back to a new video on my YouTube channel, Books with Leo, and today I'm going to be talking about everything I'm currently reading. So you might be thinking to yourself, what do you mean everything you're currently reading? You're just reading one book at a time, right? No, I'm not. I'm really not. Not sure if you guys have ever heard of the term mood reader, but that is definitely what I would describe myself as. I just read what I want to read in the moment, and that like shifts what I feel like reading. So I tend to read around 5 or 6 books at the same time, and then I read on depending on what mood I am in. I read on in a different book. That's like my strategy. It's kind of a horrible habit because I do get confused sometimes, like in between the books, but at the same time, usually I read different types of books. So I will not be reading like 5 romances at the same time. I'll be reading like a romance, a non-fiction book, and listening to an audiobook that's maybe like fantasy or something completely different. And that's also kind of the crux of this whole thing, that I like to read really different things, sort of following up to each other, if it makes any sense. If you're a mood reader too, definitely let me know if you do something similar or if it's just me. I don't know. Okay, the first book I'm currently reading is Ector Age, Eve Brown, and I'm so excited to be finally reading this book. Talia Hibbert is one of my favorite romance authors, and when this book came out, I wanted to listen to it as soon as possible. I was so excited, and I'm still really excited. I'm listening to the audiobook and it's just so good so far. I don't think I like it as much as the 2 previous books in the series, which I'm kind of sad about, and that's mostly because the main character, Eve Brown, is kind of annoying to me. I'm really sad about this. It's just like, she's very wishy-washy and tries different things. I'm not sure if wishy-washy is the right word. She tries a lot of different things, and she has a really difficult time like pinpointing herself to one thing and really going for it and working for it because she's really scared of failing. And like, I get it because I have similar traits, and I think maybe that's why I kind of dislike her. But at the same time, she's really funny and she's really great as well. She's a fun narrator, so maybe I will grow to like her. I'm not that far into the book. The romance interest so far is definitely intriguing to me because he's like broody, and I'm like, ooh, he's broody. Let me just explain the plot of this book because I haven't even told you guys what the book is about. So Talia Hibbert writes romance, and this is book 3 in a series about the Brown sisters. So in each book we follow a different sister, and in this book we follow Eve Brown, and she's had trouble holding a job down. So her parents basically say, we're cutting you off, you need to find a job and have it for a year. And so she sets out to do exactly that, and she stumbles upon an Airbnb and they're looking for a chef. She's not really a chef, but she's like, I got this. And so she walks in, and then she has like a little car accident with the guy who runs the Airbnb, or like the bed and breakfast, and then she has to sub as a chef, or at least that's what happens so far. And I do know it's like kind of a bed and breakfast romance thing. So until now it's been really fun. Not as fun as the previous 2. I think both of the previous books, I think I just liked both of those so much that maybe my expectations were really high for this one, and that has let me down a little bit. But like, we don't know, I might start to really enjoy it. But I think right now I'm more angling towards like a 3 or 4 star, which is still a really high rating. I was expecting it to be like a 5-star maximum, like ultimatum 5-star, like, oh my god, best thing ever. Then what I'm also still reading is Plain About Heroines by Emily M. Danforth, and it reminds me of Truly Devious a lot because it's like a boarding school and people are dying in mysterious ways, but there's a lot of lesbians, which is great. It's a really queer book. And then there's also this reality TV Hollywood aspect to it that reminds me a little bit of Evelyn Hugo. There's like friendships and female relationships and like troubles and Hollywood drama and stuff. So there's a lot of things going on. So the basic premise of this book is basically there's this boarding school called Brook Haunts, and a lot of weird and creepy stuff has happened there. 3 students have died, and that's been years and years ago in like 1902, and now in like our current day, these 3 actresses go there to film, and the school also might be haunted, and they have like tension between them, all sorts of things going on. And you also read about back in the day in 1902 about like the headmistress, the girls, the mysterious deaths, everything. So it's mostly really atmospheric. It also has these really cool illustrations. Let me just see if I can find some. I feel like I've shown this in videos like 1,000 times, like this, and here as well. It has these really cool spreads. It's quite a thick book. I've been reading it for a couple of weeks now and I'm on page... what page am I on? 308. I still have plenty of pages to go. It's a bit of a slow one. Like, not a lot is happening, but there's a lot of tension and the characters are really great so far. Mostly the atmosphere. The atmosphere is just so good. Like, all the places they go to and like the way everything is described, really, really beautiful. So yeah, I'm definitely enjoying it. It's just a bit of a slow one. Okay, this book is an absolute new favorite. I'm also in the middle of this one. A bit more towards the end though. This is Everything I Know About Parties, Dates, Friends, Jobs, Life, Love, but basically it just says Everything I Know About Love by Dolly, Alderton, and it is so good. This is my new favorite book. It's just, I've cried reading this book. I was reading it this morning and I was crying. I've literally laughed my tits off reading this book. Like, there's no tits anymore. I've laughed them off. What am I even saying? It's just really, really good. And I'm just really, really, really enjoying it. This is basically a collection of essays by Dolly Alderton, and it is all about growing up, being in your 20s, partying, close female friendships, confusion, not finding a lover, everybody around you having a boyfriend, and you being like, God, I'm alone, what's wrong with me? It's about going out, it's about dumb, drunken decisions, it's about being in your 20s, being in your 30s. It's just, oh, it's so good. It's got so many amazing life lessons in there, and it's so, so, so funny. I think anybody who's had any creative profession will laugh so much at this because it's like so relatable. And it's like Dolly Alderton makes fun of herself, but in like a really fun way. Like, not like self-deprecating, but just like, she knows where she stands and still she has such a fun outlook on life. Like, she's had some tough times, and that's also what made me cry reading this book. But it's just, oh, it's so good. I'm not coherent at all, but it's just, that's because I just love this book so much. I'm doing such a bad job of explaining it. Just, if you want to read a non-fiction book, read this one because it's a beautiful memoir and it reads away like you don't even have to try, and it's just... it's making me really, really happy and I can't wait to finish this. Okay, I'm also reading some other things digitally, so let me see what those are. Okay, another book I'm reading is Thick and Other Essays by Tressie, McMillan, Cottom. This is really, really good so far as well. This is a non-fiction read about feminism. Who is surprised? I am not. So Thick is a non-fiction feminist collection of essays and it talks about many different topics. It's really good so far. It's been funny but also really smart and insightful. I've learned a lot of things. Subjects that are really central to this book are beauty, money, race, gender, class, all sorts of different topics are being discussed in this book. The essays are just really readable, but at the same time you take away so much of it. I think one surprising thing about this book so far is that it's been much more poetic than I would have thought it would be. It's not like it's super poetic, like some of the other reads I will be discussing are very poetic, but it's just like, I expected it to be a bit more dry because it's a collection of essays, but it's not been that way at all. It's really wonderfully written as well. So I'm really enjoying this one and I'm learning loads of new things. Then I'm also reading a graphic novel at the moment. It's been a while. I'm reading Woman World by Aminder Dhaliwal. And this is basically a webcomic that's all about what would the world look like if there were no more men? What if men would be extinct? And so the beginning of this graphic novel was the best part to me so far, because that's like a little storyline of how this happens. So one day a scientist discovers that men are going extinct and literally nobody believes him, but then a few years later men are extinct. That's like the intro, and the graphic design of this intro is really beautiful. Like, it's got beautiful illustrations, it's really interestingly colored. I was like, oh my god, I'm loving it. And then it gets into like the regular short webcomics, and it's like a collection of all those webcomics. At first I thought it would be more of a linear story, so I was like kind of surprised when the webcomics kicked in, and then I was like, yeah, I should have read the description and then I would have known that this is what I was in for. But still, it's really, really funny, and it's just a great piece of like fun feminist fiction that you can like read in between and have a laugh with. So I'm really enjoying it, and it is quite, there's a lot of comics in there. Like, it's not as short as I thought it might be, so I can't wait to settle down and just read a few more and have a laugh. Okay, and the last book I'm currently reading is On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong. This book is so beautiful. When I started reading it, I was in a really weird melancholic mood and I wasn't sure if this was the right read for me because it's very sad. It's just so sad, but it's really beautiful. But I was in the right mood because I was like in this really weird kind of low-key sad but not super sad mood, and this just really, like, from the first page I was like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever read. So many sentences in this book are just so beautiful. I just want to write them down. I want to like mark everything and be like, tell everybody how beautiful this and that sentence was, because it's just so pretty. The prose is just so wonderful, and the story is really impactful as well. It's basically a letter from a son to his mother, but his mother can't read, so it's more of like a symbolic letter. And this book just tells a family history. It tells history of the Vietnam War, of him growing up in America with a Vietnam mother who was traumatized. It shows love, but also their bewilderment being in such a new environment and having to do with traumas and lasting impact of war. And it's really beautiful. It shows family bonds and really complicated connections we have to other humans. And it's so beautifully written. I feel like this will be a book that, if I do ever finish it, because it's not long, but I'm going through it so slowly because I want to savor it, and I just want to really let the words sink down like slowly to really understand them, because it's so beautiful. I really lost like the point of this sentence. I've got no clue where I'm going with this. I think you should pick it up, and do be warned that it is a bit sad, but it's really, really beautiful, and it is something I think we would all really learn a lot from when reading it. Oh, and it says on the back, which I hadn't seen actually, all the while moving closer to an unforgettable revelation. So there's a revelation coming. I did not know that. Okay, so when I'm in the right mood again, I'm definitely going to continue this book because it's really, really beautiful. But yeah, this is also something I'm currently reading. Okay, so that was everything I'm currently reading. Let me know down below in the comments if you like these types of videos, if I should make more in the future. I was also thinking of maybe bringing back the monthly wrap-up, just like, I don't know, maybe switching it up, doing a recent favorites and then later doing a wrap-up and just like switching it up in between, but maybe do a March wrap-up. I'm not sure. I did read a lot of books in March, so I might make a wrap-up. What do you think I should do? Because like, I'm indecisive. Just like Eve Brown. Let me know down below what you're reading as well. And I want to thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in my next video.